and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
All right, we are back. It is Monday, July 25th, 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That means it's time for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News, coming to you from Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com. My name is Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And also we have a special in-studio guest, Mr. Dana Lane of Sinbin.Vegas.
How are you?
Dana, thank you very much for joining us.
This is awesome.
And also on the line, our prognosticator himself, coming straight to you from, I'm afraid, the hospital in Cleveland, Ohio. None other than George Jorge
Cleveland
Mish.
Clinic Hospital, damn it.
Cleveland Clinic. Let's give credit where credit is due.
And
George.
it looks better than the Lou Ruvio one that's on Grand Central, which is the ugliest building. No, I better not say that. That's also owned by the Cleveland Clinic. But
Yes.
This is a beautiful structure out here.
Well, George, again, man, I'm first of all, again, I'm sorry that you're laid up, but I'm so glad that you can join us once again.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons we certainly have Dana in is that if you're not digging deep, and the Sinbin is the notorious euphemism for the penalty box in hockey.
That is correct.
And we are here to talk about hockey and also to talk about, obviously, the brand new franchise here in Las Vegas. We're kind of like joking a bit about the names because,
well, that's all we have left. We have to just go through everything. My daughter wants the unicorn, so I threw that out to Bill Foley, too. So
okay.
Why not?
All right. Yeah. Well, you had to entertain her, though. I mean, just the humor there at least.
No, she even wrote logos, and she's
So she got it really into it.
Yeah.
Did you finally, let her down easy?
I bought the domain, $50,000.
Yeah. Well, George mentioned, was it the Desert Tortoises?
Desert Turtles. I read it on the
Turtles.
Vegas, whatever the paper is. I can't remember the name of it. It's actually taken, and it would cost $50,000 to take it.
It's already taken.
And Dane, I would rather have you pay them the $50 to not take it, so you don't have to worry about paying anything else.
Yeah,
I actually like the one that came up, and I was reading about the Silver Knights. That sounds kind of cool.
I think that's going to be one of the options. I know that Bill Foley is working closely with Adidas to make sure that they get the right name, and they want to get this right. I mean, we talked to Murray Craven at the press conference, and he said, we don't want to just do this because we need a name and we want to move on. We don't want to look back on this in 2 years and say, we really should have pumped the brakes on this. I think they want to get it right because it is important that you get the right logo when you're trying to sell paraphernalia to people that you want out in the streets.
Yeah, and and that window is as the season begins to start for the 2016-2017 season, that window is rapidly closing, and I got immediately once Vegas landed the team. My buddies, they were saying, "So, what's the name of the team? The Vig, the
Dice.
Oh yeah, the forget about it.
Yeah, we heard them all.
Yeah, and I just saying, well, okay, I get that, but I do remember in being in L.A. when Disney got the franchise for Anaheim. And I remember the laughter that started when they obviously wanted to hype their own image. So the Mighty Ducks, which have dropped since then, the Mighty, and it's just the Ducks. But the biggest thing in L.A. was that, well, they were the Mighty Ducks. It's Disney. It's going to be a joke. Blah blah blah. Until of course the Ducks were the first team in that area to win the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Not the Kings, which had Wayne Gretzky and of course Bruce Lock Me Up McNull.
Right.
The only owner to ever get locked up and put away. Well, other than the guy with the Islanders, I forgot what.
You could also say too. I mean, I've had this battle with Canadians for the last year and a half about the viability of having the NHL here, and you could basically say that the state of California has been the most successful state/province in the National Hockey League.
It has.
So who would have saw that coming?
Yeah, or who would have seen a team in Florida winning the Stanley Cup, or a teams being in Nashville and Carolina. Two teams now in Florida.
Yep.
And Dallas. So I mean, that whole idea that you got all these retirees. They're down there. They're going to entertain us. It has worked as far as the NHL is concerned.
Well, I think with Tampa,
you have. I'm sorry to interrupt. You have nothing compared to it. I lived in Columbus. I had 4 years it took me to figure out what the hell a blue jacket was. All right?
Yeah.
So I apologize. Whatever you call it, it's going to be better than that.
Well, a lot of credit goes to like an organization like Tampa Bay, and a lot of credit goes to an organization like San Jose, who were non-traditional markets. They understood that from day one that you had to cultivate these relationships with
Right.
your season ticket base. It was not just drop the puck like it might be in Quebec or it might have been or it is in Winnipeg. You have to go out and make sure every single day that you are staying in touch with these people to let them know that they care, because, geez, God forbid, UNLV has a 20-win season, and you're going to fight for the front page of the paper no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think the worst thing is that you're going to have to fight and try to get the people in Vegas to understand hockey, because it took a hell of a long time in Columbus, and me and Jeff talked and Bill a couple of months ago, and I actually take it back, because I thought Vegas they would never make it out there after 5 or 6 years. But I looked at the chart, the seating chart, and you have the high rise seats are sold out. The low ones are sold out. We got a waiting list for the loads in the upper deck, and you only got 2 sections that are kind of iffy right now. So I got to apologize, because and these are not deposits, I believe. They are actual season tickets, full payments. So I was wrong.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, there is a deposit. Those are deposits at this point. But
No, I looked now. Yeah, I realized that today, and I said, "Oops, I made a mistake."
But come September, they expect the first installment of the rest of the payments. But to expect them to have done over 15,000 season tickets when Gary Bettman set the bar at 10,000.
Is that the number now?
15,200
Okay,
is a number
okay,
that
'cause it
we
was
last got.
14,000
Wow.
on this one. That's very good.
That is excellent. The new arena, what is it seat capacity-wise for hockey?
It would be 18.8 for hockey.
18A?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And that is pretty much the modern-day arenas,
Yeah.
what they're looking at, and about 19.5 for basketball typically, or for that type of concerts or anything along those lines.
Yeah,
Dana, can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
Actually, Bill and I, just talking from each of our homes, is a lot of the casinos, you think, buying tickets and then giving them to the high rollers that come in, and it doesn't matter where the money's coming from. That's fine, but that's a nice perk to go to a ball game or a hockey game like that, I would think.
Yeah, it certainly is. Unfortunately for Bill Foley and Vegas's hockey group, that is not the case. The NHL wouldn't allow them to sell
Really?
any tickets to casinos if they wanted that to be a fan base, a local fan base, and not corporate fan base. So 14,000 of those have been regular folks that would come in from Summerlin or wherever they would come in from, and then they allowed the casinos to come in and start buying up tickets as well. But
Good.
they also keep in mind maybe they would sell more. They have to keep 1,000 for away teams, and then
Yeah.
on top of that, there was a certain section of the population that is waiting for some smaller packages as well. So that arena is going to be filled. And keep in mind too, this is a 3-year commitment at the very least from people. So
I did read that. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
they're
you
gonna
can't.
be-
I read the you can't get out of them. I guess if unless I don't know what I shouldn't say that, but it doesn't look like you can get out of it if you have a 3-year ticket plan.
Well, I didn't see the lifetime option, so I wasn't able to check.
No.
Well, from what I gather, I actually drive Uber at night. Mm-hmm. Should I give up my code? No, I'm just kidding. No, but I actually drove one of the ladies that works in the office. She didn't give me permission, so I won't disclose her name. But she explained to me the whole process the day I go in, and that they weren't offering the tickets to the casinos, and I was actually kind of shocked by that. Not only are they not offering tickets, George, if you can believe this, but not even the booths or the VIP or any of that.
Wow.
So
well,
it's kind of a strange situation for me, working in the arena football last year and seeing the things that we
as
end up
long as they
struggling with.
allow me once a year to act like an asshole, pardon my language, and wear underwear and sleeping gown at midnight from the Wrangler days, I will be there.
I
How's
like
that?
that. I do remember those.
Yes, every year we went there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure those traits coincide with what Gary Bettman wants for his league,
No,
but
no.
nobody looks at the upper deck anyway. So
Right.
where
There
they
you
want.
have it.
So
As a matter of fact, I
underwear
just
section
read
is
the article
upstairs.
today also that don't expect it to be the Vegas sin bins either, because they want nothing to do with any gambling name whatsoever.
That's right.
So it's going to be the nice Silver Knights.
Yep, that was the other thing she shared with me. And she happened to work for an EHL hockey team, and then along with the operations manager. So that's it's going to be interesting. They got the right people in place, it seems like, to make it this successful. So
How huge is it, Dana and everyone, that they got this McPhee guy from 100 years actually 17 in Washington, and he pretty much knows what he wants and stuff. That's a big coup.
Yeah,
as far as getting a general manager, I believe, anyway.
Well, I'm a big fan of George McPhee. I mean, I had the opportunity to meet him at the introductory press conference. We also talked to him on our Sinbin podcast as well. He's very consistent with what he wants, and I think he's trying to put together a model similar to the Washington Capitals, which is a speed-first team, built upon quality goaltending, and of course their offensive speed into the offensive zone, which we saw happen and worked with the Pittsburgh Penguins this year. So I think he's kind of going in that model, which I'm all for. And if you go back to our earlier articles, George McPhee was number one on my list. 17 years with one team. I was more than happy to bring him in. He was the only candidate when they went up to Montana and sold themselves. He was the only candidate that could say, "Hey, look, Bill, I actually built a team that went to the Stanley Cup.
right.
We tore it down again, and then I rebuilt it again." Drops the mic, walks out to the private plane on the way to the T-Mobile Arena, because nobody else could say that.
Right.
Wow. And the one quote he had in the one article was that he believes in the draft, the NHL draft
Yes,
is 5 times more important than the expansion draft, and that's good, I believe.
Well, the expansion drafts really leaves it open for a lot of players because the teams aren't going to be able to protect a whole lot of players, the other teams. So,
but you guys out there are so much better off than when the Blue Jackets and the Wild and those come. You're going to have actually a competitive team right to start.
Absolutely.
And I believe it's because there's a cap floor that these guys have to spend $54 million, which was this year. I don't know if it'll go up. Whereas when the Blue Jackets started, they just signed people just to put fannies on skates. So you have to spend $54 million in your first year on salary. So you're going to get some good players.
Well, I will say this: leading up to this process, I question why Las Vegas and Bill Foley was being asked to pay $500 million, and I said, well, the last expansion team that came into the league paid
80, right.
Okay, so please explain to me where the $500 million is fair. Well, I think we saw where it's fair because the NHL has basically laid the groundwork for them to be successful. And the team that has had the most success coming into the league was the Florida Panthers. Their first year, they were one game under 500. I definitely think there's no doubt in my mind that the Las Vegas entry can be as competitive as Florida was. And we saw the Panthers go into the Stanley Cup Finals in their third year.
Yeah, I initially that was almost like a sticker shock when I saw that fee.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe it was by design, just simply to say, look, if you can make it, great, but we don't think you will.
Yeah.
I mean, was that a similar feeling that, around, just in terms of locally here? I mean, it seemed to me there was a little bit of a backlash.
Well, I asked Bill about the $500 million figure, and he didn't seem to think that was a problem.
Wow.
So I don't think he cared about that. I just think.
Can you introduce us?
Yeah, absolutely. Be happy to. He's an excellent guy. To me, though, there was only one other franchise that paid $500 million, and that was the Houston Texans, and that's the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I wanted some justification, at least from my standpoint. He doesn't care because he's got more money than I'll have in my next 10 lives, but I wanted some justification. And so now we see, as the rules got kind of doled out a little bit, we saw that justification for the $500 million.
Yep.
The NHL wants this franchise to be successful. This is Gary Bettman's stamp on his job.
Yep.
And his legacy.
And his legacy. That's
Right.
right. And if Vegas comes in here and they become Tampa Bay or to become San Jose, Gary Bettman is going to. I mean, you could say what you want. I know a lot of people boo him, but financially, the league has never been better.
Yeah.
So Gary Bettman walks into a room, and he is the smartest guy in the room, hands down. So if Gary Bettman thinks it's going to work here, I do as well.
Now, the Las Vegas franchise, what division are they going to be in?
They'll be in the Pacific.
They'll
They'll
be in the
play
Pacific
with
Division.
L.A. and Anaheim. Funny about that, though, this is a very heavy division. And by heavy, we mean a very physical, defensive-oriented
Yeah.
division.
Yeah.
So now he's going to come in with a little bit of a different style to perhaps change what the Pacific Division has done. And now we're going to see how that style kind of comes into play. You're going to have a good mix of physical players to win out in this division. But I fully believe that once you get out of your division and you start, you play in the conference finals or in the finals, I think it's speed that wins. We saw that with San Jose this year.
That's
All right.
excellent.
We're at the quarter hour. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to rejoin Dana and George on the line and to continue to discuss the brand new Las Vegas NHL franchise. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you in 2 minutes. All right, we are back for round two. Southern Nevada Sports News come to you from Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com. My name is Bill Miller, along with
Jeff Belknap.
Dana Lane, and on the line, George Mish. And we are talking about the brand new NHL franchise, the Las Vegas, possibly Silver Knights, moving in.
I like it.
Okay. And where we left off, Dana, and by the way, Dana, how can folks listen to you and reach you?
Well, they can get us on sinbin.vegas and, of course, on at Data Lane Sports. I'm up there all the time. Love to talk to people. Who does your bumper music, by the way? I like that.
That's Metallica.
Little
Yeah,
Danzig,
little Metallica.
right?
Yeah, we voted on Metallica.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah, we're both metalheads. So,
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
All right, there we go.
We don't look like it, but
No, I know.
Every time that
know.
music comes on, I get that little head shake.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
saw that.
really
Yeah,
if I had my long hair, I would be throwing in right
Everybody thinks I have Celine Dion in my car. And yes.
I would have been on it.
Yeah, I know that. Instead, I'm not.
Well,
that way
just
at all.
before the break, we were talking about the division that the Las Vegas franchise would be set up in. It would be the Pacific Division,
Yeah.
which has become obviously over the last few years Stanley Cup territory. And I always think in terms, especially with a new franchise, with old ones. I'm 58 and I grew up in Los Angeles, so I was always a Kings fan. Still a Kings fan. Always be near and dear to my heart. But I remember the California Golden Seals up in the Bay Area with those hideous, Oakland A's uniforms.
Yeah.
And, of
And
course,
who did they become right after that? The friggin' Cleveland Seals, and they were 2 years, and they were in the dumper with Mel Swig. Thanks again.
Still better.
Yeah.
it's so, I'm
Nurse,
thinking it's,
medication.
Hit that button, George.
I'm thinking in terms of who become the likely rivalries for Las Vegas franchise, because you have Phoenix, obviously, directly to the south of us, and then of course you have two teams that are almost within equidistance, the Kings and the Ducks. Who do you see as a likely, that people begin over the next few years start talking about, maybe just because they'll maybe mix it up a little bit more than other teams will?
I think Arizona wants to be our rival.
Right.
If they're still there.
Right.
That could be an issue.
I think Arizona wants to be a rival, but I think the real rival will definitely be with LA. And it's tough, regardless of the fact that they changed their logo. It's tough to have a rivalry with a Duck. It's just I want to hug them more than I want a rivalry with them. But that's going to be difficult, but the Kings are definitely a number one at top of the list.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the Frozen Fury game last year, and every time I go to a Frozen Fury game, I watch the game, but I'm also watching the spectacle between the fans as well. And I'm thinking, you come into our arena with that kind of attitude, and you're going to get disliked, because I think rivalries are not only just built because of what happens on the ice, but I think rivalries are also built what happens between the fans.
Between the fans, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with that. And I see LA as being sort of it does make sense. They've won a couple of Stanley Cups. And I think that Arizona franchise is in a lot of trouble. As George mentioned that, they might be the first one to either be bought, sold, or maybe moved.
Yeah, they might be sorry for saying this, but they might be the Reno of the National Hockey League, who wants to be our rival, but we kind of don't care. So they're Reno. I'm never going to ask to do this again. But I think LA for sure is going to be our number one competitor.
I think just about any of them. I mean, we're in a distance between all these teams, even San Jose. It's going to put any of these teams within an hour flight of us.
Yeah.
So it's going to bring the fans here. It is going to cause that little beef that goes on. Me and George, we have this behind the scenes Ohio State Michigan beef. So
it's not really been a beef. Yeah, okay, you're right.
Well, hey, I'll tell you this: if you
can
guys,
I ask this before I lose my track here? Are they allowed gambling for this Vegas team in Vegas?
So far, Gary Bettman has not asked for the team to be taken off the board, and there's no reason why they should be. We do things. I mean, you tell me: are you more worried about Las Vegas and everything being regulated, or are you more worried about the guys outside of every single one of your NHL arenas who are betting on these games that couldn't care less about the integrity of the outcome?
absolutely.
The only reason I ask is when I lived out there, the Maloof, the Maloof Sacramento thing that
Well, they
happened,
did lift
so
that also.
Just wondered.
Yep.
And that's how about one other thing, and this you guys are much more intelligent than I am. Why will they give teams like Columbus, anybody, a chance to save or to protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie, or 8 skaters and 1 goalie?
Mm-hmm.
I know that's two guys different. Is the skaters? Is it be some people want to have 10 forwards and 1 defenseman? 7 and 1 instead of 3 defensemen. Or you follow what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, no, it just depends on what kind of hockey team you have. I mean, if you have a defensive hockey team and you're really deep at defense, then obviously you're going to be more apt to give up to a defenseman. It just gives them more wiggle room to kind of decide. We don't want to. I think the NHL does not want to change the dynamic of who these teams are just because they're losing one person.
And it's not going. The Columbus paper swears that the Blue Jackets are going to be destroyed. First of all, they've never reached any pinnacle, so you can't be destroyed. And
Right.
one player is not going to make a difference. They're predicting Jack Johnson from your Kings or wherever the hell he was from. If that guy goes, I'll cheer. Okay, so I mean, it's you're not going to ruin a team for 1 pick.
If you are, then your farm system's not as deep as it needs to be.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And they're not taking any. George McPhee said, we're not taking on any bad contracts. And just keep in mind, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and the time that we start choosing players. I mean, that trade deadline, we could go out and sign free agents. There's a 3-day window before everybody else next year to go out and sign free agents. So we can go out and sign these guys, and that counts as our selection. And plus, there's going to be deals like, hey, look, if you don't take X player, we'll give you a 3rd rounder. That sort of thing. Those sort of deals will happen all the time. But we're looking. I'm sure Mr. McPhee is looking for contracts that are contract friendly. I don't think we're looking to take on any $7-8 million player a year. I think that 2 to 5 range. Maybe when you're talking about goaltenders, maybe when, in my opinion, I think it would be great to have a Roberto Luongo here, because Luongo, even though he's up there in age, would give us some stability at the goaltending position and also give some stability to the team.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And
Indeed.
name recognition.
That's right.
So,
exactly.
how do you feel with UNLV hockey? I mean, how are they going to be able to benefit with having an NHL team
Oh,
there.
man, I'm excited for them.
Yeah.
Because we've had those guys on another show that I did on Sportsbook Radio. They flat out said to me that Bill Foley's ready to not only invest in our team, our pro team, but also they're ready to invest in UNLV hockey.
Yeah.
And they're building those 2 sheets of ice up at Summerlin, which is a perfect place for it.
Yeah.
And I can just see where you're going to have UNLV on one sheet of ice. You'll have junior team on it, maybe the Storm on one sheet of ice. The opportunities are endless, and a professional sports team, when they come into a community, it's not just about having a team.
Right.
It is about all the things that it
Community.
affects and
Yep.
all the kids that it affects. And I told a story in a show today that I remember up in Summerlin this year when they put up this little rink and the kids were able to go up there and skate, and there was no less than 75 kids on that ice, on that little sheet of ice that was practically maybe twice the size of this room. 75 kids were on that sheet of ice.
Yep.
They want to skate, and this is a fantastic opportunity for families and kids.
Us with ZCon being a friend of the show, and they, by the way, upcoming fundraiser at a golf tournament fundraiser. So if you go to the UNLV hockey Twitter, all the information's on there. But we're big fans of Z. He's
Great guy.
definitely reached out to Bill and I, and we got to check out some games this year. So I'm really excited for them and what they're what they're going through. And I think that this actually might be the segue to get them into Division I.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's really what they need to break through. And I've had long conversations with Z, and he's really excied about what's going on.
Especially what Arizona State has been able to
That's right,
accomplish.
yep.
And the only thing for me is, okay, there's going to be a certain amount of travel cost here because there's not in a conference that's really
That's
close
it,
that
yeah.
we
Right.
can just jump into. Maybe
Right.
maybe they form some sort of a Pac-12 conference where a lot of those teams do have club teams. And so maybe something forms from that. I'm not sure exactly. You don't want a situation where you had the Alaska Anchorage playing in the same division or the same conference with Ohio State and Notre Dame at that time.
Yeah.
That's just bad. UNLV's not going to love that kind of travel schedule. But I think that if you find something where you have like a 5-team conference at first, I think that's viable.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
So, George, we have one question for you before we
Anything
end this
you
thing.
need.
Okay, so
I have one for you real fast before I get cut off.
No, go ahead,
I
go
want whoever I will buy. I'll be out there October 1st. I'll buy 6 straight drinks, whatever you want. If you can find me the over and under on how long Josh Gordon's going to remain now that he's reinstated. How will he make it through the 4-game suspension to play in the 5th game against Mr. Brady? By the way,
Wait, you know that we think alike because that was a question I was about to ask.
That was
Seriously?
the question, Georgia. Yeah.
I think he's making it. He's making it.
I think he's an absolute fool if he fails this time. But
Yeah, well,
Hey.
that's.
he was Johnny Manziel's roommate for a short time, so who knows?
Well, we
I
can
don't know
only
what to
hope
tell
for
you,
the
but-
best for the young man. And then, again, I hear Stephen A. Smith say it all the time. You put the weed down.
Yep.
I don't know what the hold is it has on these young men, but if you're willing to sacrifice your career, so be it.
Well,
The last thing I say before I'm cut off, and I have many people, the place I go to, that believe it should. If it should be legal, that's fine. But if it's not legal, you got to live with the laws. Sorry about it, and that's change the law. Then that's,
Well,
that's
I'm going
the
to
way it goes.
throw it out here right now, Josh. If you're listening, and I know that you are,
He's in my room now. We're smoking. We're actually drinking a beer.
there you go.
Yeah.
For $100,000, I will make sure that you smoke no weed. I will
Wow.
actually follow you everywhere, and I will make sure $100,000 a year. I will definitely take care of that for you.
I'll do it
Wow.
for 88.
Maybe he'll go out with. I just saw 2 minutes that the Cavs coach got a 5 years, $35 million contract.
Yeah, I
So
saw
maybe
that.
you can hang with him.
right.
We'll never know.
Well, Georgie, thank you so
Okay.
much again
Thanks,
for
sir.
joining us.
It's
and,
been fun, thank you. And
I need
I'll
for
see
you to-
you in 60 days plus, and I want to go to Twin Peaks, whatever the hell that is.
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah, well, we never need an excuse to not go there anyway. So, yeah, absolutely. We're on it for that. But thank
Okay.
you very much, George. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you guys. Dana, you're very interesting. I'm going to be looking at keep writing. You'll
That's
be
how I
good
sold
here.
my wife. I said I'm very interesting. So let's do
Really?
something tonight.
And Dana, thank you so much for joining us here at Southern
Love
Nevada
it.
Sports.
Thank you.
And by all means, consider it an open invitation. Continue to check in with us and bring us up to date as far as the Las Vegas franchise is concerned.
Well, I appreciate it. This is awesome. I'd love any
As a
opportunity
matter of
to
fact,
talk about
Dana, I have
hockey.
nothing to do with it. But if you want to replace Jeff, I'm all for it. So.
Well, I would
kidding.
do it also for that 88.5 figure. So
There you go. All right.
All
You
right.
guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right, folks. That was George Mish coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio, a real trooper from his hospital bed. Thank you, George, and get well soon.
Yes, sir.
Dana Lane, thank you so much again for joining us.
Pleasure's all mine.
Sinbin.Vegas.
Awesome.
And how can, again, folks reach your blog?
at Dana Lane Sports and on Sinbin.Vegas and various radio shows around the Las Vegas Valley.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to take our second break, and when we come back, we'll be getting into prep sports football, locals football here. You're listening to Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com. All right, we are back for round three. Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com. My name is Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
and our in-studio guest. We are switching now from NHL hockey to prep sports football. And we have with us Mr. Brock Hirschberger, Green Valley High School, senior, defensive end, and tight end. How you doing, Brock?
I'm doing great.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I appreciate you coming in, young man. And I have to admit, he came in while we were taping the previous segment, and I thought maybe the player couldn't make it, and maybe one of the coaches had instead decided to stop by. But yeah,
Maybe because he ducked into the door.
that had a lot to do with it. Yeah, you're a big lad, young man. So, senior, Green Valley High School. I remember what it was like being a senior in high school. I wasn't being pitched by anybody, trust me.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun for me. And so, have you been at Green Valley your entire 3-year high school career?
Yes, sir.
All right.
It's kind of crazy, honestly. It feels like yesterday. I was just a freshman,
Yeah.
and it's already here, senior year.
Yeah, and that time does fly by. And you're getting ready, obviously, for your senior football season. What are your expectations? And first of all, who's your head coach over at Green Valley?
Brian Castro.
Okay, has he been your coach for the last 3 years?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. So you've been with him, you understand. So there really haven't been a lot of changes as far as the coaching staff and as far as what your playbook is concerned.
No, sir.
All right, yeah. So Green Valley, how did you guys finish last year?
Not too bad. We made it to playoffs, and we normally get knocked out by Liberty every year. But we're definitely looking to make a comeback this year.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. We had the Liberty High coach in here. It was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago,
Morocco.
right? And and he of course is he's been there a while, and he's been on when the 0-win season up to where they are now. So
Yeah.
it's obviously most of the high schools. I don't think people realize that a lot of the high schools in our area are not that old.
That's right.
And because there's been a lot of expansion in terms of residences and neighborhoods, and Green Valley is just one of those in the Henderson area. And how old is Green Valley High? I mean, is it about 15 years old?
It's, we just had our 25-year anniversary. this
25
year.
years,
Just
yeah.
last year, yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, that's considered
Getting old,
old.
Bill.
Yeah, I'm telling you. You know, I
I actually remember when Green Valley opened. That
Do
was
you
right. That was
really?
right when I moved here. Yeah.
Wow.
1991. It must have been right. Yeah. I moved here in '90. I do remember. That was when the city was actually finally getting to Green Valley. But you're right. Since then, I mean, they've had about at least 20 schools open.
Yeah, I think there are 32 high schools in Clark County.
Yeah.
And this is not a big area, folks. So, you know, you on a Friday night, as you're driving along, you just see these banks of lights in the
Yep.
horizon, and some aren't that far from each other. You know, where I live is near Cheyenne, and less than a mile down the street on the same street is, oh God, where Hunky Cooper used to coach.
Canyon
Canyon,
Springs.
Canyon Springs.
Yep.
Same street, less than a mile.
Yep.
You know, and they almost literally look like cookie cutter schools. I mean, the same design. So you couldn't like take a picture and say this is what it looks like, and you know, be
Right,
there.
right, right.
I mean, say you know, it could be this one, that one, and you know, where I live in the Northwest, they're just a huge collection of schools.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you're getting ready for your senior year, and have you been in discussions with some colleges, and have you taken some tours and?
Yes, sir. This last fall, my junior season, I was actually taking some unofficial visits to several Mountain West schools. I went up to Boise, Utah State, San Diego State, just a whole bunch of schools. I actually have 4 offers right now, currently, and I'm still definitely keeping my mind open on where I want to go to school. I'm not entirely sure yet, but
Well, congratulations.
yeah, thank you.
I did see one of those schools as Adams State.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, which is friends of the show. Jay Staggs is one of our. He used to play for us. Actually, we used to have a football team, and he played for us.
There we go.
So
Yeah,
it's,
he actually recruited me.
yes.
Yeah.
So I like what Jay's doing. He's reaching out to the Vegas guys and giving them opportunity. We just had a gentleman in here a few weeks back that actually is going up there this year. We actually know several guys that are heading up that way.
Yeah.
So when you look at a college, you know, because I know you got some pretty good grades.
Yes, sir.
Where is that at? I think I saw like a 4.8 or something like that.
4.4 GPA.
Yeah, well,
Not
that's it. Oh my God. Well, don't be bashful. You know. Well done.
Just a 4.4.
Just a 4.4.
So being that's your you're obviously good with the books and everything. So is there a college, are you looking at a college for the education also, or I mean what's your plan there?
I mean, one thing my dad's always told me is I'm going to be a man a lot longer than I'm going to be a football player.
Here, here.
So that degree definitely means a lot to me. But also looking at a school, I got to like the people there and just kind of have a good vibe about the whole situation rather than, who's got the most wins and the most rings,
Right. So just based on that, I mean, do you have an idea of what you're going to major in, or where you want that career path to go?
I have lots of ideas kind of based on, like, if I went to school at a certain school, then I'd probably major in something in particular. But right now I'm kind of leaning more towards a business degree.
Nice. Is that kind of following the guidelines of the family, or?
Not so much. It's more just my personal interests and what I've grown up seeing, kind of what I feel like I want to do.
Right. Well, being a finance major, I can appreciate that. It's actually helped me quite a bit in my business. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, so.
Definitely.
And then Bill,
Business major.
business
yeah.
major, and he's obviously in business. VP of operations at his company, Air
Yes.
Ocean Pros.
Air
by the
Ocean
way.
Pros, by the way.
Friend of the show, sponsor of the show. But yeah, so I mean, the one thing that I'm always impressed with is the kids that actually will put their effort in the books. We got most of the people that wouldn't, which meant that we got guys that were very talented. They were fast. They were great players. They were uncoachable. So being an athlete that kind of understands the whole concept of being coachable is very important. So it's good to see.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yep.
So, what are some of your goals for your senior year?
Me personally, I try not to focus as much on my personal goals. I'm more of a team player.
Okay.
For the team, I feel like we definitely want to win every game, but it's going to have to start just at practice, get that mentality and mindset, come out every day and work hard. And from there, I think we'll be great.
Awesome. Are you team captain?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Yeah. It's good. I can tell the way you present yourself that you would have the leadership ability. So I'm glad to see your coach recognizes that as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. So in terms of, are there any other sports that you play in addition to football?
I played baseball my whole life. Baseball was my first sport.
Yeah, now we're talking. All right.
And then I wrestled in middle school in my freshman year at Green Valley. We're actually 5-time state champs there for wrestling. But there came a point where I kind of had to back away from the other sports and choose one, and football is my one true love. So that's definitely what I did.
And so is the family heavily involved in Team Brock?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, my family, they're definitely my biggest supporters. My mom, my dad, I love them.
Here, here.
My dad actually played college football at Weber State.
Okay.
And so he kind of knows the whole ropes of the recruiting and stuff, and he's kind of been there to help me, and my mom as well.
Good. And we've talked to a number of young men who, have been recruited and, accepted an offer and are on their way. The one thing that, I always, try to stress is that enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because you're only really going to get this one opportunity where you go through this, and you should enjoy every minute of it. It should not be a chore. It should not be a task. And I hope you feel that way.
Yeah, definitely. Just throughout my whole recruiting process, I've gotten to see different parts of the country, and it's really made me more worldly in that respect. And I've really, I've seen some neat places, and I'm definitely happy about it.
Have you? Is there any place that the weather might, give you kind of one of those? I don't know.
Right.
I'm actually a first-generation Las Vegan, so
Are you really?
they moved away from the cold. My mom was born in Alaska, and my dad's
wow.
from the East Coast, so
Okay.
their families kind of came here to get away from that
I
stuff.
was going to ask you about that because my assistant principal, his last name was Hirschberger.
Really?
I grew up in Detroit area,
Okay.
so I didn't know if he was any relation to you.
That whole Great Lakes region has a lot of Hirschberger.
Yeah, he was
So-
he was definitely a rough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't like me. He didn't like me very well. So
Say it ain't so.
I mean, maybe I spent a lot of time in his office or something. I don't know.
Okay.
I thought I was being.
So it wasn't without provocation.
No, I mean, I thought we were supposed to do that. You're supposed to be close to people. No, but yeah, he was actually a good guy. But so, what else about you that kind of keeps you grounded in what you're doing? I mean, is it the certain type of work ethic, or what makes up an athlete that's being looked at college by colleges?
I guess what kind of keeps me on the straight and narrow path, not to sound so cliche, but it's definitely God. I pray every night about not only myself, but for others who need help. And I feel if I put my trust in God, He'll lead me down the right path.
Amen to
Recruiting
that.
and
Amen.
life, so,
Yeah.
Bill and I are both believers, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because when everything's said and done, I mean, he's the one that gives us every opportunity. Sometimes we look other things and we think that things fall into our path, but our path is already laid out for us, and it's just our responsibility to walk on it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, you're rocking a 4.4 GPA, which means you're doing a lot of college prep classes already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how that works. I mean,
Well, having
Definitely.
having the campus on at least a smaller campus on Green Valley's property, that's probably got to help you also. Do you actually take classes in the college there?
I have had a few classes. I'm strictly honors and AP classes is what they are.
oh, no doubt.
It's rigorous education, but got to do what you got to do.
Well, clearly the potential coaches know you can read a playbook,
Yes.
so that's not
important.
going to be an issue.
It's a start.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that you're also, clearly articulating what you are looking for in a school as well, not just Saturday evenings or Saturday afternoons and that sort of thing. I never had that opportunity, but I have now, as it looks like, 3 cousins who are seemingly on the radar. Of course, my cousin Justin, who he's already gotten a couple, and he's getting ready to also go into his senior year, and he's from Kansas City. And because of his mother and my uncle, his grandfather, he's enjoying the process. It's not something that he is like, would you get off my back, leave me alone, that. And he too, he's a great student and well-grounded, and you clearly are that. And I wish that most young men and women have that opportunity. Just enjoy the process, sit back and kind of let things sort of ride. And clearly, I think you have an idea where you don't want to go, and there's no, believe me, you don't have to share that with us. We don't want any breaking news stories.
Josh Gordon.
Yeah. But again, and I think that with another year, that's the opportunities are really going to come your way, young man.
So
Appreciate it.
NFL players, like who do you really look at to see like this is the guy I want to be? Besides J.J. Watt, because I knew you were going to say
I was
that.
going to write that down.
That's the main one right there.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, me personally, it's a whole combination of players. I feel like. I mean, I try and take the best out of every personality of every player and just their work ethic, and try and apply it to my situation, and definitely make for better on the field and off the field.
Well, if you want to look at somebody that's a little bit older, you might not have seen him play, or you were very young, which get some film on Reggie White and watch the way that guy played. Man, that guy was a beast. And then, passed her off the field also. And I look back at a lot of these defensive guys, man. I just like this, Mike Singletary. And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you watch these guys who just beast up. Warren Sapp back in the day, was absolute beast. So I'm looking forward personally to come and checking out your games. One of the thing is we like to have the preps on here, but we're very big supporters. Bill and I love to go watch prep sports. We'll go to a women's basketball game. We've been to volleyball games, soccer games, whatever. So we're looking forward to coming through there
Yeah.
and
Looking
checking you
forward to
out.
having you.
Yeah, it's gonna be good stuff.
Yeah. And so you're when does camp sort of open up as far as preps locally here?
2 days. 2 days.
2 days. Yeah.
Okay, so
I still remember 2 days. God almighty.
How can you forget that? It's brutal.
And it wasn't in Vegas.
Yeah. For us right now, we're finishing up our summer workouts this week. Then after that, we have a week off. And then I believe it's August 8th, we pad up. And it's time to go. So
There you
looking
have it.
forward
Yeah,
to
Well, you only got a couple weeks at that point, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Before you know it, it'll be Friday Night Lights.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and I highly encourage folks. Believe me, there is a high school nearby. Get involved, attend the games. It is just so much fun. I just enjoy the whole atmosphere of high school football
$5
and prep
and-
sports.
And don't eat before you go.
No.
Actually go there and support the team. Have a hot dog, some fries or whatever that they're making. I think that's where a lot of this falls through. They don't realize that that money spent at the concessions actually goes back to the team.
It does.
And
it absolutely does.
it's really important that we support the high school sports. They don't have unlimited budgets, so support those families.
Yeah, not every school can be the initials are BG. But
Say no more.
yeah, but again, support your local prep sports. And Brock, needless to say, thank you so much for taking time to come in. And we, want to consider you a friend of Southern Nevada Sports News. And once the season gets started, and I know you clearly carry quite a load. Even if you have an opportunity, maybe just to kind of call in, let
call
us
in.
know how you're doing.
Definitely.
And when you're ready to finally break the news on where you decide to
Do it here first.
do it,
Yes, sir.
you can.
I couldn't be more thankful for you guys having me.
Yeah. And any shout outs that you want to send out?
Probably just my team.
There you go.
Yeah, let's get it this year.
Yeah, let's do
All
that.
right.
Hey, and your teammates also. We like to give those guys some exposure, so have them get in contact with us, and
Definitely.
we're big on that. But I do want to make one more shout out since we only got a couple more minutes. My little guy, Keon,
Indeed. Yes.
qualified for the Junior Olympics. I'm very proud of him. Keon, good job, good job.
Little K.
So we're heading to SAC on Thursday to see how he does.
Road trip.
And we're about 10 inches away from the guy that's in first place.
Oh, wow.
I've actually convinced him that he can actually win. So I don't know if he can or not, but he believes that he can. And I think that's the main part of it, is that he believes in it. But he really impressed me. He did 6 jumps in the regional. And 5 of those 6 jumps were personal records.
There we
So
go.
everyone was a personal record. One time he put his hand back, and that's was the only reason. The other one wasn't. So we're looking forward to
And how
some
old is
good news.
his little kid?
He's 8 years old.
There you go.
Yeah, and he's a little beast, man. I can't wait to see him jump. And you know what? I'll shoot some videos, so we'll make sure we get it on. The next show. I'll
Absolutely.
give you guys the update next week.
Absolutely.
But
And
go Keon.
yeah, and I'd like to send a shout out to my cousins who were here over the weekend. My cousin Cameron, and also my cousin Ryan. They're the 13 and under, two of the local tournaments here, hoop tournaments. Cameron is 6 foot and Ryan is 6'2",
Nice.
and he's 13. And
Beautiful.
also, congratulations to his older brother Nate, who was in town as well. He just got accepted at UCLA.
Oh, look out.
Yeah, so
Bruins in the house.
Hail Bruins, yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, again, just a quick thanks to Brock, for coming in. Green Valley High School senior, 4.4 GPA. The sky's the limit for this young man. Join us next Monday. It'll be, I think, was it going to be August 1st?
August 1st.
August 1st, the first show of August, for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News, coming to you from Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com. Take care.
God bless.
Thank you.